The lights inside Hard Rock Stadium burned like a constellation brought down to earth, shimmering over a sea of roaring fans who weren't quite sure whether they were witnessing a fight or a spectacle. Logan Paul emerged first, striding into the spotlight to the anthem of the greatest showman, embracing the theater of the moment. At 26 years old, towering, broad-shouldered, and outweighing his opponent by more than 30 pounds, he looked every bit the modern gladiator, part prizefighter, part entertainer, fully aware that the world was watching. Across the ring stood the man who had done this dance 50 times before, Floyd "Money" Mayweather. Undefeated at 50-0, 2 decades of dominance, generations of challengers solved and dismissed. Even at 44 years old, smaller, older, and giving away size, Mayweather carried something Logan could not measure on a scale. Experience carved from championship rounds and sharpened under the brightest lights boxing has ever known. As the bell rang, the contrast was almost cinematic. Youth versus mastery, size versus precision, ambition versus legacy. Logan tried to assert himself early, pressing forward behind his reach, throwing from wide angles, testing the guard of the defensive genius. But Floyd, calm as ever, relaxed behind tight shoulders and subtle footwork, reading patterns, collecting data. It wasn't just a fight, it was a chess match unfolding in real time, with Miami buzzing in anticipation of what would happen when raw power collided with refined brilliance. As the early rounds settled in, the rhythm became clearer. Logan Paul leaned on his advantages, weight, strength, physicality, tying Floyd up on the inside, forcing him to carry mass, wrestling in close quarters, to sap the veteran's legs. The crowd began to murmur, some booing the clinches, others captivated by the strange tension of it all. He had seen every style imaginable, and this one, awkward, powerful, inexperienced, was simply another puzzle. His corner urged straight punches, patience, discipline. Then, like a flash of lightning in a humid Miami sky, it came, a sharp left hook upstairs from Floyd, clean, precise, snapping Logan's head back, the best punch of the fight so far. The crowd erupted. Moments later, a right uppercut slipped through the guard, and for the first time, Logan felt the sting of elite-level timing. Swelling began to form under his right eye, a subtle reminder that precision often beats power. But to his credit, Logan didn't fold. He absorbed the shots, steadied himself, and even fired back with a right hand of his own, his best punch of the night, catching Floyd clean enough to draw a reaction. For a split second, you could sense Mayweather's competitive fire ignite. He responded with crisp counters, slipping, ducking, check-hooking with surgical sharpness. The master was warming up. And Miami was fully invested now. By the middle rounds, fatigue began creeping into Logan's movements. The tight high guard, reminiscent of Winky Wright, was there, but the arms were heavier, the breaths deeper. Mayweather, conversely, looked like he was just beginning his night's work. He stabbed the jab to the body, chipped away with left hooks downstairs, and snapped shots upstairs, threading punches through openings that only he seemed able to see. A big right hand landed flush. Another uppercut followed. Logan's legs stiffened for a moment, and the stadium gasped as Floyd poured on calculated aggression. It wasn't reckless, it was methodical pressure. The veteran hunting his moment. Yet Logan's resilience told its own story. He clinched when necessary, leaned his weight, survived the bursts. At one point, Floyd connected with a crushing right that would have sent many seasoned professionals crashing to the canvas. Logan absorbed it, somehow remaining upright, drawing both shock and reluctant respect from the crowd. Mayweather's frustration flickered briefly. He had landed the kind of shots that usually closed chapters. But this was an exhibition, an unusual battleground, and Logan's sheer size and durability kept him afloat. The rounds ticked by, Floyd landing the cleaner, sharper work. Logan surviving, occasionally firing back, but increasingly in survival mode. As the final rounds approached, the narrative shifted from domination to endurance. Floyd pressed forward, stalking, looking for one last emphatic punctuation mark. Logan, exhausted but defiant, clung to the task of lasting the distance. Every clinch, every deep breath, every desperate swing was about survival. The crowd sensed the closing act, rising to its feet as Mayweather ripped another left hook, another right hand, testing the younger man's will. But the bell kept rescuing Logan, round after round. And then, at last, the final seconds melted away. No knockouts, no judges' scorecards to declare victory. This was an exhibition after all. Yet the symbolism was unmistakable. Floyd Mayweather, the aging maestro, had once again displayed the layers of skill that built his legend. Logan Paul, the brash outsider, had gone the distance with a man many consider one of the greatest defensive fighters in history. As the final bell echoed through Hard Rock Stadium, Logan pointed to the clock. 8 rounds completed. The crowd roared, some in disbelief, some in admiration. It wasn't about titles or records that night. It was about spectacle meeting mastery. Experience had outclassed youth, yet youth had endured. And in the glow of Miami's lights, boxing reminded the world that sometimes, even in an exhibition, pride, legacy, and heart are always on the line.